Okay, so I found something wild this week, and I literally could not wait to talk about it.
Welcome to Locally Hosted. We cover AI, machine learning, developer tools, and tech infrastructure.
Today, we're looking at a GitHub CLI extension that changes how we handle pull requests forever.
It's called GH-Stack, and it lets you manage stacked branches like a pro without the usual headaches.
Wait, stacked PRs? Like putting one PR on top of another?
Exactly. Imagine building a tower where each floor depends on the one below it.
So you don't have to merge everything into main immediately?
Right. You create a chain of small reviewable PRs that build on each other sequentially.
That sounds way better than waiting weeks for one massive code review.
It is. Each PR only shows the diff for that specific layer, making reviews faster and cleaner.
How do you even start setting this up? It sounds complicated.
Actually, it's just one command. ghx-install GitHub GH-Stack.
One line? That's it?
Yep. It requires GitHub CLI v2.0 or higher, but that's standard now anyway.
Okay, so once it's installed, what's the first step to create a stack?
You run GH-Stack init. It creates and checks out the first branch for you automatically.
And then you just make commits on that first branch?
Yes. Once those are done, you add another layer on top of it.
Like adding a new floor to the tower we talked about earlier?
Perfect analogy. You use GH-Stack add API endpoints, for example.
Does it handle the base branch automatically?
It does. The new branch inherits from the previous one in the stack by default.
This is getting interesting. How do you push all these changes to GitHub?
Just GH-Stack push. It pushes every branch in your stack in the correct order.
And viewing them? Do I have to switch branches manually?
Nope. You can use GH-Stack view to see the whole list or navigate with up and down commands.
Wait, up and down? What does that actually mean in context?
Up moves away from trunk main, while down moves toward it. It's directional navigation.
That makes sense. So how do these become actual pull requests?
You run GH-Stack submit. It creates one PR per branch and links them on GitHub.
Linked how? Like a dependency graph?
Yes. Each PR's base is set to the branch below it, so they form a visible stack.
This is huge for complex features that need phased rollout.
Exactly. Reviewers see only the relevant diff, not the entire project history.
What happens if a rebase fails in the middle of the stack?
GH-Stack handles local tracking in .git-gh-stack to remember your state and ordering.
Does it also help with merge conflicts?
It enables git rerear automatically, so conflict resolutions are remembered across rebases.
That saves so much time. I hate resolving the same conflicts repeatedly.
It's designed to reduce that friction significantly.
Can you specify a different trunk branch instead of main?
Yes. Use the tub-base flag with GH-Stack init to point to any trunk branch.
What about adopting existing branches into a new stack?
You can provide explicit branch names during init, and it adopts them automatically.
This feels like a game changer for team workflows.
It definitely streamlines the process of managing interdependent changes.
Does it integrate with AI coding agents yet?
Yes. There's a GH skill install GitHub GH-Stack for that purpose.
So AI can now understand stacked PRs natively?
It gives your AI agent the context needed to work with this structure correctly.
Okay, so that's the what, but how does it actually work under the hood?
It relies on standard Git branches but manages metadata locally in JSON format.
Is this metadata pushed to the remote repo?
No. .git-gh-stack is not committed. It's strictly for local stack management.
That keeps the repo clean and avoids cluttering history with config files.
Correct. The actual linking happens on GitHub via PR metadata.
What's the biggest benefit compared to just using feature branches?
Visibility. Stakeholders can see the entire progression of a feature step by step.
And faster feedback loops for each small piece?
Exactly. You get reviews on individual components while they are still fresh.
Does it support interactive mode for branch naming?
Yes. Running init without arguments prompts you for branch names interactively.
This is incredibly powerful. I need to try this on my next project.
It's definitely worth the setup time for any non-trivial feature work.
But here's where it gets even crazier. Can we undo a layer?
You can drop layers or reset the stack if you need to start over cleanly.
So it's flexible enough for iterative development.
Yes, it supports the full lifecycle of complex feature development.
What about conflict resolution during interactive rebases?
The rerear feature kicks in to reuse previous solutions automatically.
That's the kind of magic I love seeing in CLI tools.
It abstracts away the pain points of manual stack management.
Is there any downside to using stacked PRs?
Only that your team needs to adopt the workflow. It's not for everyone.
Fair point. But for those who do, it's a massive productivity boost.
Absolutely. It turns chaotic branching into an orderly chain.
Okay, so that's the what. But how does it actually work?
It uses git rerear and local JSON metadata to track state without remote dependencies.
This is the part that broke my brain. How is it so simple?
Because it leverages existing Git capabilities instead of fighting them.
So what does this mean for the future of code review?
It shifts us toward modular, incremental reviews rather than monolithic ones.
I love that. Smaller pieces are always easier to digest and verify.
It reduces cognitive load for both authors and reviewers significantly.
Alright, so if you're doing complex features, this is a must-have.
Definitely. Install it and see how much smoother your workflow becomes.
Subscribe to Locally Hosted for more deep dives.
Original source is linked in the description.
Alright, that's all we got this week. If this blew your mind, come back next time. We'll probably break it again.